Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Sudha Jamthe, and this is Sudha Live. Let me also record on Zoom. That's my backup. Okay. So here we are at Sudha Live, Friday evening. I usually do this at 6, and you're wondering why am I doing it at 6:30? Because I was stuck on Restream trying to get to stream to LinkedIn. So that's why I was laughing, because I suddenly saw that I was live. Okay, so for those of you who are tuning in regularly, thank you so much for finding the time to hang around with me. We'll do this about 45 minutes. I'm Sudha Jamthe. I'm a technology futurist here in Silicon Valley, and I teach AI at Stanford Continuing Studies and AI ethics at Barcelona Technology School and online at Business School of AI. And I'm a thought leader in AI and autonomous vehicle space. And I love sharing, and that's why I'm here. So this session, what I do, it's called Sudha Live. So if you want to tweet, and this is being streamed on Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So if you want to tweet, use hashtag Sudha Live, and I should be able to find you. And I focus on AI opportunity specifically here. So I'll pick a topic and I'll tell you what's today's topic that I'm going to talk about, and where's the opportunity with that specific topic. And then I'm going to be sharing jobs and fellowships and research and all kinds of cool stuff. And I always like to start with an inspiration, because as I go through the week, thinking about, okay, what am I going to talk to you on Friday? I'm scanning all my social networks, all my reading material, and I'm working on some stuff. And I'm looking for inspiration, and there's so much around us. And if your social network is optimizing your feed based on what you're clicking, so you might not have seen what I'm seeing. So let me share my screen, and I'll show you who I'm looking at. 1 second, okay? Give me a minute. I actually share a lot of stuff, so I try to set up my windows, so I have a lot of tabs open. Okay, so I have a colleague from my eBay days. His name is Karthik Venkateshwaran, and he is the CEO of Jumbo Tail, a retail delivery company in Bangalore. And they have a story. They have a series called "This Is My Story" of their employees. And this is my inspiring one for this week.
Oh, I didn't think this would be sorted so quick. You were so helpful. Thank you, madam. Thanks a lot.
I'm Vatsala. I'm 100% visually impaired. This is my story.
She's visually impaired.
Yeah, until 4, I was at home, but not learning anything or doing anything, because they did not know how they could teach me anything. One of our family friend who was visually impaired referred me to Jyoti Seva, and that is when I got to start my education.
4 ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಗೆ ಹಾಕೋಣ ಅಂತ ಇದ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ವಿ. ಬೇರೆಯವರೆಲ್ಲ ಬೇಡ ಸೇರ್ಸ್ಬೇಡ ನೀನು ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಆದ್ರೂ ನಾವು ಇದ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ, ಸೇರ್ಸೋಣ ಮಗುನ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಗೆ ಸೇರಿಸ್ವಿ.
So there they taught me everything from the beginning: how to eat, how to talk to people, and what is blindness, what is the way forward. So I got to learn our script of writing, that is Braille. College, I studied in St. Joseph's Evening College. After that, actually challenges began. My senior managed to teach me for 1 year, like which bus you need to take, which stop you need to get down. We usually find out stops through landmarks like a hump or a signal. I used to identify stops through smell, through some nice smell or some dirty smell.
ಬಸ್ಗಳು ಇದರಿಂದ ಹೇಳ್ತಾಳೆ, ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ಗಳು ತವನಿಂದ ಇಂತಿಂತ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಹಿಂಗ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಹಿಂಗ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ಲ ಆಗ್ಲೇ. ಅವ್ಳು ಭಯ ಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಕಳ್ಸೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇದಾಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಅವ್ಳು ಭಯ ಪಟ್ಟಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ, ಒಳ್ಳೊಳ್ಳೆ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ತೆಗ್ದ್ಲು, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಸ್ಕಾಲರ್ಶಿಪ್ಗಳು ಬಂತು, ಇದು SLC ಇಂದನೂ ಸ್ಕಾಲರ್ಶಿಪ್.
I actually got best outgoing student award actually in PUC. So that best outgoing trophy was award that means a lot even today.
ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಕೆಲ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದಂದ್ರೆ ಅವಳೆ. ಎಲ್ರು ನಮ್ಮ ರಿಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ರು ಖುಷಿ ಬೀಳ್ತಾರೆ. ನೋಡ್ದೆ ನಿನ್ ಮಗಳು ಹಿಂಗಿದ್ದ ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ರು ಅವಾಗ ಇದ್ ಮಾಡೋರು. ಇವಾಗ ತುಂಬಾ ಖುಷಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ತುಂಬಾ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅವ್ಳು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಓದ್ಲಿ, ಇನ್ನೂ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
That's her mentor. So she's in Jamthe.
When I got Vatsala's resume, right, I was a little bit curious to know that how she'll be able to work for call center.
Because I'm thinking like how to train her.
And we don't know how she will work, or how she will handle the system, how she will handle the customers.
This is the first time that we are trying in Jamthe, where given opportunity for visually impaired people. Everybody in the panel liked her a lot and recommended to hire her. The panel also felt that she just need one chance to prove herself. That's it, nothing else.
First of all, I never thought I could get a job actually. I feel very proud of working at Jamthe. Probably it connects me so much actually. As a customer delight executive, I understand customers. I can manage solving customer problem myself. Working from office, it's been a very good environment, a nice professional environment with very supportive colleagues.
Till date, with any customer complaints, any escalation, how much were possible she'll handle by herself.
So the computer used to read all the wordings or messages on the system. So she had to hear that and hear whatever customer is telling, and accordingly she had to give her answer. It's a very difficult task. Thing is, she knows 5 languages. So whenever customers speak in Hindi, she'll quickly turn to Hindi. And if customers speak to Kannada, and then she'll change it to Kannada again. I've trained her. Whenever Rashmi says, yes, Vatsala is doing a very good job, I'm very, very proud. So everyone have taken her as an inspiration. So not only me, entire team.
I can say now, at present, she is number one.
I got a job. I'm happy. I'm satisfied. That's not an end. I want to help many more people like me. Like we need to create an impression so that next generation also should benefit from it. And Vatsala, this is my story.
Okay. So I hope you were inspired by this because it made my day. And, when we're talking of AI bringing everything, automation, I just thought that human story was important. And this Vatsala knows 5 languages. And I've been looking at language translation models, and language models has been kind of a thing that I've been focused on. And many of you, at least my students from Stanford or, Business School of AI, know that that is something that I've been talking about a lot. So I want to give that in perspective when we are thinking about whatever you're doing in AI. And here I'm going to tell you about amazing opportunities, and you're going to go build systems, you're going to do research, you're going to go innovate, you're going to change the world. And there's a lot of you who are working on AI ethics. In fact, this time in my Stanford class, I teach artificial intelligence boot camp for product and business managers. And it is live online, so we have people from a lot of different countries, and it's a very diverse group of people all working typically in industry. And you're going to be building AI, automating AI, and a lot of them were talking about AI ethics. They cared a lot about AI ethics. So when you think of AI ethics, it always looks like, I'm going to give you some stories too. So it's going to look like some company is biased and they're not doing this right. And just think about your role when you're building a system. If you're a product manager, I have in fact lots of product management jobs this time that I'm going to share. And for those of you who are new here, I'll typically come back and share the links on LinkedIn. Sometimes I do that on Twitter also, but I will share all the links in my newsletter that will go out on Sunday morning. It is called Jamthe newsletter. Let me share the link so you can look at that. Here it is. It is called bit.ly/Jamthe newsletter. Here is the link. And if you want to just bookmark it, go and look at that. It goes out on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock my time here in California. Then you can look at that and see what I've shared in the previous week. You will get the recording of this video and a lot more other stuff. And in the bottom, you will find the jobs, various different research and jobs and links. And unfortunately, we are still at war with Ukraine, and we can't kind of normalize and forget the news. So I have links from LinkedIn maintaining their updated list on how to support Ukraine. So I have that. So you can go to Jamthe newsletter for all the links that I'm going to be sharing, including Vatsala's story. Okay. And all the different jobs and opportunities. Okay. So what are we going to talk about today? I'm not here to just ramble on and give you a list of jobs. So this week is NeurIPS, the top AI conference. It's NeurIPS deadline week. So I have, everybody around me submitting papers. So the abstract was due on the 16th and the paper was due on the 19th. So till yesterday, it was kind of crazy. And those of you who are working, who have made a submission, congratulations. You still have work to do because 26th is the deadline to submit supplemental material, which is actually to send the code. So there's a lot of papers that is published in many journals, and only 15% of the papers submit their code. So if you read a research and it says, this is what we found out, and they give you some data and stuff, we don't know the real data that they used. Was it biased? How did it work? If you looked at it, if you had challenging thinking about it, there's no way to access it. So I'm going to show you another site. It's called Paper and Code. 1 second. Paper and Code. No, it's actually Paper with Code, sorry. So the site is called Paper with Code. So if you are interested in reading research paper, you could be a researcher. I've been talking in recent times about how you should get into research and publish research papers. And we have done some research 101 sessions recently at Business School of AI. That is my site online where my students come together, my student alums come together for Weekly Wednesday, which is our speaker series. So we had sessions on that. In fact, Usha Jagannathan was supposed to come this week, and it's going to happen, this coming Wednesday, where she's going to talk about research. She's been a researcher, she's been an academic, and she is now working in McKinsey. She's worked in other corporate environments also. So she's one of those rare people who's very deeply technical and has a good business sense. So she's going to talk about research and her journey, and then she's how she's not going to talk about anything related to McKinsey specifically, because this is from Usha's experience, but she's going to talk to you if you're interested in research, and if you're working in any company and say, is this for me? I'm not an academician. It doesn't matter. I think that would be a good one to show up for our Weekly Wednesday this coming week. So if you're in AI in general, reading a paper is a good way to understand the latest, greatest trends in there. Or you can follow me, and I share a lot of these, demystify this. So this Paper with Code actually publishes you can go and publish any paper, or you can look at any paper and recreate it. If suppose they don't publish the code, you can create the code, or if you're working in one particular software platform, you could do that. So you will find all possible data sets, all possible papers, and then different people will come and like a certain paper of how it was recreated. And so there's a whole community of developers who are recreating, and this is good learning opportunity. If you're a developer, you should be part of this community. If you're not, you should still go and read the research papers. Being able to read those papers itself, a thing, is the skill. And coming to NeurIPS, a lot of people are submitting papers, and 7% I believe gets accepted, is what I'd heard as the latest number. Okay, so for NeurIPS, is being a top conference, they don't just accept papers without the code. So you have to give them the code. They have to run it to see whether they got the same results as what you were proposing. So that's the big one this week. And then there's another conference. Let me share the URL here. And this is IJCAI, or ICAI in Europe. It is in Vienna, coming up in July. The actual conference is July 23 to 25. the registration cutoff is coming up soon. They have a call for volunteers for students. So by 23rd, if students are able to sign up, it's 20th today. So in the next 3 days, if you're a local student, you want to participate, this is your chance to join that. And you can see the whole committee and program and all the keynotes and all the information and all the different accepted papers. Everything is very transparent. So you can see all of that, here. And one of the things why I'm affiliated, or at least I'm going to be affiliated, is I don't know the organizers or anybody. I've not submitted a paper, but I submitted a workshop option. So let me find that also for you. So basically, I have submitted a workshop that got accepted at IJCAI, which is called Diverse Discourse Experts Workshop to make voice AI inclusive. So I've been talking about how, even in Vatsala's story, she knows 5 different languages, and she is still, visually impaired and uses Braille and voice from various languages she knows. And there's so many different people who are going to, look at this. If this is going to be, an AI responding and providing customer support, how are you going to make it work so that it works for such a diverse world? So my focus is on, current focus is on bringing that diversity from different people in a workshop at IJCAI. And I'll tell you one more thing that I'm working on a similar note. So with voice AI, voice is kind of our shared social space. It's in the home. I've spoken a lot about AI in the car. We have voice assistants, and of course, a lot of customer support lines and chatbots are all automated. So, and voice also is a biometric, and this AI that is detecting our mood and predicting our behaviors. So if voice AI is not inclusive, then it is missing cultural constructs that cannot be understood by artificial intelligence today. So my goal is to bring an expert discourse on voice AI, inclusive with NLP language models, NLP language models, data and design that are built with cultural diversity, incorporating data from everybody, all kinds of people. And that's I believe that voice is the easiest interface to AI as we are going towards this connected autonomous space that I keep talking about. And so this is a workshop on inclusive voice AI, and this is going to be part of the IJCI conference. And I'm looking to hear if I want you to talk to me because I want to collaborate with people up there. I have a list of people that I've proposed and how I'm planning to set up this as a workshop at in Vienna in July 23 to 25, one of those dates. It's a weekend, but I also want to find out if you're already there in attending, if you got a paper accepted or you're going to be attending this conference. Maybe I can collaborate with you because they want it to be a hybrid event. So there will be an event on location in Vienna, and then there will be a hybrid Zoom version that we can bring more people into the conference. So I bring everybody as diverse people from around the globe. Even if I'm in Silicon Valley, I just don't bring people from Silicon Valley. You know that from all my events and speakers and my IoT Day 24-hour marathon sessions. So that's how I do this too. But if you're already going to be at IJCI, I would like you to talk to me, because you could collaborate with me as a person who is there already in location. So thank you for that, and pass it on if there are other people who would be interested also. So the other thing, so when I was talking about how when things are automated and we think it's biased and companies are not doing well, we hear that. Reminds me of Amazon, because Amazon got sued. Women in AI ethics shared this, so credits to them. So basically, they shared this that Amazon is facing 14 class action lawsuits and 75,000 individual cases about use of biometric data, which means biometric data could be voice or like facial recognition. And Amazon has already been in one of the 3 top AI facial recognition companies that's banned by US government for government contracts. And so we'll see how this goes about. There are 14 class action suits, and so biometric data, it's protected in UK and Europe by GDPR. And in US, we have 20 different states individually who have legislation around that, but we don't have national legislation on anything AI or data. And so we don't have one specifically. So we'll see how this plays out. So when we were talking about ethics and bias on that, I wanted to share that. And there is another one, with all my love of autonomous vehicles, and I bring it back. In fact, even in my Stanford class, though the class is about AI, I do like a 30 minutes pre-class so that my students can cut to interact and, ask me questions and stuff. I'm going to do an AI in autonomous vehicles because that's kind of my favorite topic. And I do a lot of inclusive AI in autonomous vehicles as papers that I published. So if you check my Google Scholar, you can find those papers. So why am I saying that? Because there's a bad rap for autonomous vehicles. I mean, anything in tech is a tool. It depends on who's using it and for what they are using this. So this is from Motherboard, an article cites that the San Francisco police was quoted saying that, in all the cars, there are cameras around them. The Tesla has like 8 cars, and you park it and then it just starts, it says sentry mode, and it collects data. So the police, they were discussing, San Francisco police, there was a document, there was a training document that was obtained by Motherboard saying that they can use this to understand the surrounding. So if the car is parked and then the car has this information, the police could get access to this. Currently, there's no direct mechanism, but I think the legal method is they could subpoena for this data, but they were given a training that they could use that data. So the challenge is if they use data. So if I'm driving around and I collect, and my car is collecting information, or I'm always chasing self-driving cars, so I must be in all possible videos, right? Because that's the car is seeing me. So that was not recorded with my permission, and GDPR says you have to get permission to record or collect data of users and tell them what you're going to use it for. And if you change your mind and you're going to use them for something else, you still have to come back and get their permission. So first of all this data from cameras from self-driving cars are not collected except for training purposes to train the autonomous vehicle. That's what we are assuming, that they're running pilots and they're driving around and looking at us on the road because they don't want to crash into us. And if they are going to now give it to the police to say, hey, was Sudha here on this road? Was somebody else crossing this? Was this person caught on camera talking to somebody else? Did they have a bag? They could go on and look at, there's so much in computer vision you can do with those data, with that data. So that's another alarm I just wanted to share when those of you are interested about thinking about AI from an ethics perspective. So it's not, especially if you're working on collecting data from cameras, like Suresh is very big on cameras. And I know Oluwatobi is now, Oluwatobi Oinlola is a researcher. He's a fellow at MIT, research fellow at MIT. And he focuses, he's a robotist, and I know Suresh and Oluwatobi are talking about cameras and camera data and what is possible. I just wanted to bring that to your thinking about that. Okay, so one other topic I want to tell you before I go into the jobs thing, to give you any list of jobs. I don't know if this is interesting for you, but I just found it a little scary, but I wanted to share this anyway. So give me a minute. I'm just going to open the video. I had,
This is an,
sorry. So I had written about in my IoT book in 2016, in this futuristic chapter, I had written about how people are getting NFT chips on under the skin as one of the options. And it's one of those, don't do this guys kind of situation. And there is a girl called Chip Girl, that's her TikTok. And let's see what she says.
RFID chip. I had it implanted into my hand. The chip inside of my hand can open cabinets and doors. This does not work. Here's my ring. Does not work. Here's motion. Does not work. Here's my hand with nothing on it, nothing on my sleeve. Here's the chip. And it opens. This is an RFID chip.
She's so excited about it. So she has a chip RFID chip under her skin, and she goes about opening things and connecting it. Like I would connect my voice assistant to multiple devices in my house. She does that, and she's so excited about it. And there's a lot of videos out there. So I'm not recommending anything, I'm not endorsing it, but I just wanted to, I am showing inspirational stuff. I'm telling you what companies are getting sued for not following GDPR. And I'm asking you to build AI with proper, consideration of your power in building this and being inclusive of everybody. And here is an extreme case of excitement for tech, which I officially don't endorse. But you might find that funny or scary. I would like to hear what, as you're watching this, I just want to hear your comment. When you saw it, what was your thinking? Did you think that this was too much, or it was not a big deal, or, is this something you would do? I don't know. I would not do that. I would never do that. I'm definitely not endorsing it. Okay. So I want to go back to this topic of this bias and equality, but with an opportunity in mind. So let me show you two papers related to that. So I'm going to close off the other windows. So this, let me give you credit where credit is due. So this came on my Twitter from Accelerate AI. And this is for social impact. They share a lot of interesting material. So Accelerate AI shared a paper. And in this work, the authors refer to word embedding. So this is about language models. When you're building language and models for AI to understand language, how do you make it gender neutral? And so that was this paper. Let me actually show you the actual paper. So there's certain words called word embeddings. So lipstick on a pig has a certain connotation in US English. And that is the meaning in a gender sense. And so they were just saying, look at that phrase. So they're taking that word embeddings and how, there's a whole debiasing method that they are presenting in this paper. So lipstick on a pig is the name of the paper. So if you just Google it, it's already in our Ziv. I would like to see what you're thinking on this. And if you're working in any company and you want to make, gender bias, basically gender bias information is still reflected in the distance between what they call as gender neutralized words in the debiased embeddings and can be recovered from them. So in simple words, if you want to build AI that is unbiased, it's impossible. And you can collect data so that it is not biased and inclusive, which is a huge, huge exercise. And there are proxies for certain words. So if you say, hey, remember the Amazon algorithm that did not even invite a single woman to be interviewed because it was biased against women. And then there was a hue and cry, and it turned out it had a feedback loop. From the data, it was fed with all guys only and invited guys for the interview. And then once they went in, it said, hey, guys are doing great, better than women. Let's not invite any more women. And that's what the algorithm did. And so there's a moment, at least, most everybody who works with me wants to build AI, which is not biased and inclusive of people and do the right thing. And if you remove the gender, so the easiest solution people always say is like remove race and remove gender, remove anything that people could be biased against or historically were biased, so it will impact in the feedback loop, and remove it. And certain factors will act as proxy. So when you are feeding language models, you don't have the columns to say I'm reducing weightage of this column or hiding this column and seeing whether what other column is acting as a proxy for race. And you can't think about it when you're doing machine learning. Maybe you can do that with the factors in a spreadsheet, when you're doing natural language processing and it's just language, somebody is talking and you want a translation and you're getting that using an AI, you have to take everything. And so this word embeddings is a set of phrases which actually implies something. So lipstick on a pig, when you say that, it is, it's demeaning in a gender context. And so it is not it's not a curse word of some kind which is done in a gender neutral setting at everybody. So the embedding method of doing it is, finding those phrases and see how is it still biased against women or certain genders, and then see whether you can eliminate that. So that's what that paper is. So that is one. And then they had a very, very important paper. And I'm telling you, I was, it's not like the social media feed usually gets you things that exactly what you want to hear, even if you're not, if I go talking about this gender bias and or AI job opportunity, then those things start coming at my feed. This was not one of those. It's just serendipitous that I have been talking about creating a meetup at NeurIPS, and they have this thing called social affinity group. So I want to do a social affinity group. That's the word for it, not meetup. Social affinity group for bringing people from the global South focused on language models. And so many of you know that I've been working with you, talking to you already over the last couple of years. And I'm hoping to bring a bunch of people who are working on this together. And it's statistically that the papers that are published and acknowledged and cited and built upon and given credit to great people who are working on different models usually comes from select set of countries. So you primarily hear, especially for Spanish, I heard this from Latinx and AI, the Spanish language translation models, the language model AI, the cited references are given primarily to people from US, Germany, and China. And they are not native language speakers. They might be people of Spanish speakers in any of these teams. Obviously, they must have contributed, but that's not enough. That doesn't bring the whole culture and the background that the data of the language carries. And so so my aspiration is to bring people from the global South, which is everybody else. So everybody from Africa, from Asia, from Latin America, all of them, and who should be involved in research. And I know so many people who are doing amazing language model research, and there's several groups. And you've heard from Tejumade Afunja, who runs or who was the founder of AI Saturdays Lagos. There's so many groups like that who are building BERT models, like Ruth Nanduta gave a session about BERT at IoT Day for us. So there's a lot of interesting work happening, but everybody's reinventing the wheel in their own worlds. So I'm hoping to find some commonality and bring us to NeurIPS as a social affinity group. So I have not found anybody who's working on Spanish models, and I want you to talk to me or refer me to any group who's working on it. I don't know the Latinx and AI group personally. So if you're listening to this, or if you hear from a friend, please talk to me. I have people who are working on Portuguese language, people who are working on several different African languages. I know of a group who's working on 16 different Indian languages. I would also like to know more people from other countries that are in Asia and rest of the global South. So talk to me, and we'll have fun. We'll have fun, because language models is like the latest frontier in foundation models. So what we were doing as natural language processing with NLP is now with foundation models with BERT and GPT-3, and there's GPT-3 versions, done by several groups around the world. So it's very fragmented, and it's time we collaborate. And my goal is to bring more people from global South into the world of research. If you know AI and model, but you're not working on research, I want to help you, bring you there. I want to bring us together before the conference itself, and so that we can go share the learning in the event as the social affinity group, so that we can take it to the next level on language models to do this right, not just as data, but our lives, our aspirations, our cultures in all the different languages. And there is joy in understanding and comparing between different languages. And so that's how I'm hoping that we'll get that. So that's my plan for affinity group, social affinity group at NeuroAPS, which is in end of November, early December. But for that, I would like to see whether there's anybody at least on the Spanish language. If you're working, I would like to talk to you. If you're working on any other languages from Global South, please talk to me. Okay, and you can find me on LinkedIn or even any of the channels where you're watching this. You can comment back. So coming back, why did I say it was about the feeds and what I'm seeing from LinkedIn and social media is on Twitter. The Axel AI folks shared this about how can decolonization be implemented at the research stage when we collect data. Remember, especially if you're my student, where is bias? Bias is introduced at 6 stages in the AI development cycle. And you can check Susanna Raj's work on inclusive AI on this specifically. So the collection of data is the starting point, labeling of data, and then and the different stages of building, and then there is a whole loop that comes back to retrain the data. So how can you decolonize the data at the collection stage in the Global South? And here is a post from Jennifer Roberts, who's a researcher from Axel AI, and this came on my Twitter feed, and it links to a Medium post. So I'm going to show you the Medium post, and in my shares, when I share the links, I'm going to actually give you this particular actual Medium link for you here. So the decolonial turn in data and stories is the name of Jennifer Roberts' paper, or this is an article on Medium, the Global South and Beyond. It's beautifully done. So how do you done that? The decolonial turn and pluralizing of the South, and things like that. This digital storytelling. It's beautifully done. So I would recommend you check out this paper. So other than this, I got tagged by somebody on Twitter who shared a beautiful who's who on IoT world. So given my past coming from IoT, writing books on IoT, I am called on by Analytica. It's On Analytica. Let me show that you can figure out the pronunciation. It's On Analytica. So they published this report of who's who in the IoT world, and it's beautiful stuff. Let me see if I already have that open. 1 second. Yes, here is the who's who. Here is influential voice of Analytica. Thank you for including me. They included me under people who are sharing content and thought leaders in that space. And here are, and I see some of my friends. You will see these are brand employees who are basically people who are working in IoT from various different executives and evangelists who are from various different companies. So you see a bunch of that. These are people who are On Analytica. And now I got the pronunciation. On Analytica experts. So this is marketing for them. So thank you for putting this list, but I'm not going to be a PR. So I'm going to skip that a little bit. These are influencers who are social amplifiers of the IoT topic. Here you can see Shyam Varanath, who is one of my people I know from my IoT world. And here is Robin Cranenberg, who is the founder of IoT Council, and he initiated IoT Day. So I work closely with Rob, and he is somebody who you cannot miss. There's a lot more people. So I would recommend following that, but thank you for On Analytica for pulling this list together. And Marcos also is somebody from Barcelona. He's a developer advocate, but he's somebody who created a startup on how to connect to IoT from any kind of devices to out to the cloud for building enterprise solutions. There's a lot more people that I know who are not on the list. This is a bunch of speakers. I'm in the content contributor list here. I had a digital twins one that I wanted to show you. Here is John First here. I follow him. And he's wonderful. Again, he shares a lot of content and with perspective. So I appreciate that. Instead of just sharing content, it is more about sifting through this and having an opinion and sharing it in a way that you can now get a bite-sized information and make informed decisions around your work related to IoT. And there's a lot of academic researchers, and I'm technically and it should be in this category, but they already put me in some other category. Then there is IIoT. There is Carolina Rudenshi, who is the co-founder of IIoT World. Then let me see. Who else? Oh, Ivan Crystal is here. He's a force. Ron Van Loon is here. So these are people you cannot not follow. They are amazing people you should follow. And this is about digital twins and experts in that space. Here is my friend Ahmad El Adil. He actually coined the phrase cognitive digital twin. He's somebody you definitely should follow if you're focused on digital twin. Shambaranath is also back on this list. So I would recommend you just check it out from On Analytica, and they have a lot more brand stuff. I try to not endorse specific brands, but and then here they have a lot of publication on resources. That's very good. And IoT World is one. The other thing that I found that is not on this list is IoT Slam, and they run the largest IoT community, and that is also worth following because they publish a who's who in IoT list. I've been on that list, or I think they have a ranking of this, and they also have events and a lot of content from that. It's good stuff. So I would recommend that. And what else I got here for you? Let me see if I'm missing anything. Oh, I can't forget this. One of the things I saw come again, like I said, I look for inspiration, I can't ignore it, is this is Lauren Easterling. Congratulations, Lauren, Dr. Easterling, because she just graduated from her PhD, and she's the first PhD from her family. So she said, hey, if you're the first in your family to graduate with a PhD, reply and post a picture. And this was such a heartwarming list with so many people. So this is Lauren, thank you, congratulations. And then this is Dr. Claudia. So Lauren works in life sciences field. And then this is Claudia Antolini, and she's the first in her family to get a PhD. And she graduated in 2014 in astrophysics, and defended my thesis with the toy sword here. That's funny. And there's a bunch of other people. And here is Dr. Charlotte Berry. She's a force in the robotics world. She's the first engineer and the PhD in her family. I was the first engineer in my family. I don't have a PhD. These people are amazing people. And she's funny. She's a professor, and she takes time to teach robotics basics, so that's more people here. So I would recommend look at this. 14 years on, this is, people are coming back. Here is Jatna Acosta, first in my family to graduate college, Dominican immigrant, and it's just amazing PhD. I mean, it takes a lot of effort, and I hear from people who are on academic Twitter saying how hard it is, and I feel like quitting. Here is Li Jun Zhao. just had graduation ceremony a couple of weeks back. Congratulations. It just goes on. It looks like a long list, and it looks like, hey, why is she doing this at this, but here is Cathy Price-Abesk. There's a lot more. Erin Dyer Saxon, and it's quite a global list. And thank you, Lauren Easterling. I will share this. Here is Dr. Lindsay Hall, Dr. Molly Simonet, Dr. Sarah Davis. It just goes on. I'm not going to do justice to this. Hadimis Gas. I'm not going to do justice to this list. Again, if you see somebody with, disability, or somebody, who's able to do that, it is even a bigger deal. But congratulations to everybody. And I'm going to share this list so you can see, the whole list if you want. And Twitter is distracting, showing me other stuff, which I do not appreciate and want to show it to you right now. It's just all other things in Twitter world news. So I promised that I have tons of jobs. So I'm quickly going to show some jobs that are bubbling up in the product management world for me. So again, I'm seeing things from my world. So if you have other jobs, Rebecca Tweed actually shares a huge list of jobs. So she's one you should follow. So I found a bunch. This time what I'm going to do is I have a bunch of product management jobs, a lot of them Silicon Valley centered, so I'm going to share with you. I have a lot of director of product management jobs, and you can see that it has an AI component. It's either direct ML, AL kind of product management for ML, AL for some product, or it has a AI or ML element to the job. And then this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new category, and I'm going to share remote jobs. So this is called Director of Product CX, Customer Experience, and it is from Bigly in European Union. And no, I think it's called Bijli. I'm sorry, this is a Hindi name. Sorry, see, I've had a wrong pronunciation because I did not think it is a Hindi name. So the minute they say it is in Hindi, I understand it's called Bijli, which means electricity in Hindi. So they are looking, and this company is in European Union, and they're looking for a remote job. So I'm going to I have collected a bunch of remote jobs, and I'm going to share them with you in the newsletter, right? And then I think Google has a product manager for search live results team in search verticals, which is in Ireland, but remote is open. PwC has a digital campaign strategy and enablement manager in Stamford, Connecticut, again, remote. There's a whole bunch of other things. Smart Things, which is, I believe, part of Samsung, and has a director product partnership programs, which has a hybrid role. I found, and I've been talking about research, so I found one job in San Jose State University, which is called Director of Innovation, which is related to looking at working with the researchers and then figuring out how to commercialize that research, which is a research lab kind of role. So just going to go post all these jobs. So we covered a lot of topics today. We started with Vatsala for our inspiration, being visually blind and being a customer support person. So next time you're on a call with somebody and you're getting irritated, think about it, who is on the other side. And we talked a lot about a little bit about voice AI, because I'm going to go present that in Vienna conference. And I have this call to you to go tell your friends about language models and how I want to collaborate with everybody. Especially I need somebody who's working on Spanish, and if there's other languages, please talk to me. And a lot of different jobs in product management and remote jobs. And we saw a bunch of lawsuit that Amazon is facing from biometrics. And then the global South topic, how do you decolonize the data right at the research stage, at the collection stage, is an interesting topic that I'm very fascinated. And then I shared a research paper about, a different way of making sure that gender bias is removed. And then we saw this huge who's-who in IoT. So I think this time has been a lot more content heavy than my usual Sudha Live. So I hope you can soak it in. The good news is this recording with all the different links is going to be shared at my Jamthe newsletter. So bit.ly/Jamthe newsletter will have it on Sunday morning. my time. So come find it. If you're already subscribed, it's great. If subscription is not your thing, just come check it out. I hope to hear back from you. I've not had a chance to come and chat with everybody to figure out, what are your questions and specifics, especially it is being streamed in multiple channels. So I'll come back to a round. So if you see this, come back to see this also is fine. Post a question and I'll try and answer that. And if you work in any of these areas that we're talking about, I would love to hear from you if you are you have an opportunity that you want to share, or you have an experience that you want to share. Oh, finally, before I forget, this weekly Wednesday, one of the things we did is I usually share weekly Wednesdays or speaker series. That is where I said Sudha Jamthe is going to come from McKinsey, and she's going to talk about her holistic experience of research, being an academician and now in enterprise, but she's focusing on research. So one of the topics that I usually share here is what did we do in the last weekly Wednesday? So last weekly Wednesday, we had a replay from Swati Young. Let me share that with you. And this is also on Business School of AI, and we'll link it back. Here is Swati Young. Okay.
To calculate the risk of suicide of veterans using machine learning and also natural language processing to create a COVID-19 screening bot. So I will be covering a few of those use cases I've worked on today, apart from other use cases in healthcare. Apart from all these roles, I also do a lot of volunteer work. I am a lead member of the AI Working Group, which is a collaboration of federal industry and academia. And through that working group, I co-authored the AI Primer, AI Playbook, and more recently, Ethical AI Framework to help US government adopt AI and evaluate ethical outcomes of AI. I also am a Women in AI ambassador. Women in AI is a nonprofit that's based out of France. It has members from over 100 countries, and to support its mission, I organize Women in AI events. I also mentor girls from middle school to high school, as well as mid-career women into how to pivot into AI or any other technology-related challenges.
She's amazing. This is Swati Young. Let me see if I can get you the right spelling of Swati so that we don't miss out on her. So here is Swati Young, and she's the CTO and data science leader. So in the weekly Wednesday recording, you will find that she's actually walking through building AI for healthcare for multiple use cases, great amount of depth, amazing personality also. So I hope you'll watch that. And with that, I want to wrap up. Thank you everybody for tuning in late, because we started out late today. I hope you stay safe and come back and talk to me, ask questions or chat in any of the channels, or just find me on LinkedIn or Business School of AI. And I hope I'll see some of you at Weekly Wednesday, where Dr. Usha Jagannathan is going to be talking to us as our guest speaker. And that's my happy place where all my student alums come together. Or I will see you back here at Sudha Live. So thank you, everybody. Stay safe. Bye. I'm going to stop the live.